So bass, we have here quite a little bit more going on, especially in the box wise. So let's solo the bass now, just without anything actually on it. All right, sounds quite okay-ish. And now what I really like doing is to get a little bit of grit and a little bit of dirt in the bass. It oftentimes, especially on smaller mixers, speakers, it really helps to translate the bass and to cut through so you can actually hear it. And sounds like that. It's the TCE BOD. A little bit of a drive. Left actually the low and the high EQ here alone, and the presence is right in the middle. So even though the low end gets a little bit away, we're gonna bring that in here with the bass amp and the channel later on. And I used here the stock Logic with the classic stack here, dynamic microphone. A little bit of a bass boost, reduced a little bit the mids and increased the highs, and also the compressor section engaged. So that's without and with. Okay. And then I also used an in-the-box EQ here, where I just did some surgical things actually. I reduced, or I made actually a cut of 40 Hertz, which doesn't mean that everything is particularly cut around 40, so it doesn't have a too steep curve. You can hear plenty of information of the bass around there, but it just helps, especially when you use, for example, a mix bus, compressor, and EQ, to really clean the low end a little bit up, and so the compressor doesn't have to work with too much low end information. And but it actually doesn't hurt the bass itself on this particular track. So don't get me wrong, I don't actually cut too much bass, especially lower frequencies. Same goes for the kick drum, for example, but in this case it sounded really good. And I also reduced here a little bit of 50, which I said in the beginning with the kick drum. I used on the kick drum, for example, I reduced a little bit of 100 or 90-100 just to make some room for the bass. And here I cut a little bit around 60 just to make some room then for the kick drum. All right? Without. And then I used R-bass to get some harmonics in there, which helps, especially for the low end. I have here a frequency of 75 and just a little bit of the intensity. Sounds like that. So now you can really hear the bass again. Bring in some low information there. This was the R-bass from Waves, and to top it off, a little bit of saturation. Went here just with the clean bass DI, so with the preset on the Kramer tape. So it sounds really good. I really like the Kramer tape, especially, for example, for bass or electric guitars. Really fattens up the tracks. And on the console, I used here just actually a little bit of 3000 Hertz, a little bit of a boost, and I boosted also a little bit of 100-120. So that's with and without. So let's disengage now all the plugins and also the EQ. Okay. So, and also let's see what I did compression-wise to the bass on the outboard. I have a FMR RNLA, so a really nice leveling amplifier for that. So as you can see, we're compressing a little bit more here. We have kind of like a faster attack and a slower release and 5:1 ratio. So up to 4 dB, up to 5 of compression without. And with. So this was the bass. And now let's move on to the acoustic guitars. So on the acoustic guitars, I have here one on the left side and one on the right side, which plays a little bit of a lick just here and there. So let's focus now on the, let's say the left side, which sounds like that. And as you can obviously see, no plugins used here on the guitar, just used some outboard saturation, compression, and EQ. And let's go to the EQ. I used here a little bit of a top end boost again, but also a low cut of 75 Hertz. And I also boosted a little bit of 100. Sounds like that. Okay, and now let me use my small camera here to show you what I did on the A2, which is the compressor and the saturator for the acoustic guitars. So I used just the tube stage here and also the compressor. And as you can see, let's engage the compressor. We are compressing here around maximum to 3 dB. With a very low ratio, 2:1 or 3:1, fast attack, fast release. To gauge also the tube stage. Without. It just saturates it a little bit and keeps everything a little bit in place, all right? And basically the same on the acoustic guitar on the right side. Let's use maybe the beginning here. Oops. So again, boosted here, only 12,000 Hertz and nothing else. And I used, because it's played a little bit more dynamically, and in the box compressor, the CLA2A, which I mainly use on acoustic guitars, sounds like that. Okay. So just 1 dB, 1.5 dB of compression. I wanted to keep it quite lively, but just to get it a little bit more even. And so both together sounds like that. Without the EQ. And again with. And now also with the A2. So that's without. And with. All right, so acoustic guitars. Let's go now quickly to the electrics. Solo that. So by nature, electric guitars are always compressed by itself. When you overdrive electric guitar in an amp, you have quite a compressed signal already there on distorted guitars. So I didn't use any compression in there, just on the bass side where all the instruments go in, a little bit of compression. And I just used basically a send here, which goes to a chorus, the TAL chorus in the first setting. So let's solo that, just to hear the chorus. So this is just the chorus, now with the electrics. Again without. Makes it a little bit wider. And that's basically all I did. Just used some room reverb again here. Let's maybe bring it in. Get out. And with. Okay. So that was the chorus effect on the electric guitars. And let's go on now to the piano. And I used the piano a little bit of the right side just to complement it with the left side of the acoustic guitar, so to have a little bit of a right stereo image in there. And I used here the Puigchild EQ again. So let's play the piano. Fast release here, and just a little bit of compression again. And on the EQ here, I boosted quite a bit of 12,000 Hertz. And I also boosted just 3 dB of 100. Without. And with. And again, this also went to the Elysis in the warm room setting just to get a little bit of reverb in there and make it a little bit more lively. And all the instruments go to bus 3 and 4 here, where is a compressor inserted. It's the FMR RNC. So let's play all the instruments again with the bass, oops, here, and also with that. Let's see how that sounds. Okay, so here is the RNC. I have it in the super nice mode where you can actually don't hear any compression at all. Very hard to hear it. And I'm compressing just 1.5 up to 2 dB with a setting of, which is that 4:1, a kind of like a slower attack and a fast release. So let's see how that sounds. So compressing just a little bit, and to it kind of like feels that the compressor helps sometimes when you have it on the bus and you bus certain instruments to it. It kind of glues everything together, and which is actually a sound that I very, very like. And I think it's, or in my feeling is it's easier to get it right on the analog side than using just the in-the-box compressor and bussing things to that. Maybe the analog summing, or for example, could also be that the analog compressors sound a little bit different in the in-the-box versions. All right, so those were the instruments, and finally let's go to the vocals.